本人怎么会输呢？拦不住的呀！
我是讲，万一日本人真的输了呢？
狗日的，把南京搞成这个屌样子！你打开门出去看一看，人都死没了，谁跟日本人打啊？日本人怎么输啊？
日本人是畜生人，就算他们赢了，会把我们当人看吗？
This is the film that forced the Japanese consulate to issue a public warning. It ripped the lid off the core truth of the Japanese, obsessed with trivial etiquette yet devoid of basic morality, and tore away the hypocritical mask of the invaders for the whole world to see. You might think it's just a movie, but most of its characters are based on real people. And shockingly, some of those figures are still hailed as masters in Japan to this day. The year was 1937. Nanjing had become a living hell on earth. After storming the city, Japanese troops unleashed the rape of Nanjing, a massacre of unspeakable horror. To honor their fallen soldiers, they rounded up thousands of Chinese civilians, even hired a Taoist priest to perform a sacrificial ritual. Then, at the order, rows of machine guns opened fire. Innocent lives fell like wheat under a reaper's blade. Rivers of blood poured into the Yangtze River, turning its waters a deep, menacing red. But to the Japanese soldiers, this nightmare was a spectacle. They openly took photos to brag about their so-called heroism and might. In their eyes, the people of Nanjing weren't humans anymore. They were prey to be hunted and slaughtered at will. They treated rounding up civilians like a game. Officers offered a bottle of sake as a prize, egging soldiers on in a sick 10-meter torture contest. Chased the victim for 10 meters without killing them. Then the one who shot them dead at the finish line won the drink. A Chinese life was worth no more than a lousy bottle of sake. But mid-escape, this Chinese man got an unexpected savior, a Japanese soldier. He'd stumbled into the territory of another Japanese unit, who were ready to gun him down on the spot, until they spotted a photo studio album in his hands. They mistook him for a photo studio apprentice, and the Army's Japanese photographer just happened to need someone to develop his pictures. So they spared his life, ordering him to lead the way to the studio. But he wasn't a photographer at all. He was a postman, A-Chong. He had no choice but to play along. When the Chinese interpreter with the unit checked A-Chong's discarded clothes, he saw the postman's identification tag sewn inside, but the interpreter said nothing. This was his small, silent act of resistance, his way of offering a tiny glimmer of protection in the darkness. The group headed for the photo studio together. Along the way, Japanese troops looted civilian homes without mercy. Women in the city were reduced to lambs waiting to be slaughtered, violently forced to submit to the soldiers' animalistic desires. A fleeing woman broke free from her captors and ran straight to the interpreter. They were old friends. She begged him to save her, but in front of the Japanese soldiers, the interpreter had no power to speak up. He had to pretend he didn't know her, watching helplessly as his friend was dragged away to be violated. In this cruel reality, survival came first. Conscience had to wait. A-Chong soon led the Japanese photographer, Ito, to the photo studio. The place was empty, so he lied, saying the owner had fled the city. But while fetching water, he stumbled upon someone hiding in a cabinet, and he kept his mouth shut. He bowed politely and handed Ito a glass of water. Then, suddenly, the cry of a baby cut through the air. Ito followed the sound to the bedroom, but all he saw was a cat. He shrugged it off as the cat's meow and didn't dig deeper. They moved into the darkroom next. Ito ordered A-Chong to demonstrate how to develop photos on the spot. But A-Chong had no clue how to do it. He glanced nervously at the interpreter, who immediately got the hint. He quickly distracted Ito, reminding him they had more important business to attend to. Ito dropped the demonstration, ordering A-Chong to have all his photos developed by tomorrow afternoon. He left a stamped note, saying it would protect him from other Japanese soldiers if he showed it. But this so-called lifesaver was only valid for 2 days. In the world the Japanese invaders had built, every promise of safety was temporary, arbitrary, and worthless. Once Ito left, A-Chong let Lao Jin out of the cabinet. Lao Jin had been hiding in the studio's cellar with his wife and baby. He'd risked coming upstairs to get milk powder for his infant child. He begged A-Chong to help his family escape, promising to teach him how to develop photos and split the studio's profits with him. But A-Chong knew the truth. Nanjing had fallen. Profits meant nothing when you were fighting to survive. He handed the film rolls to Lao Jin, telling him to develop the Japanese soldiers' photos, while he planned to use the 2-day protection note to escape this hell on earth. But as soon as he stepped outside, the street scene shattered his hopes. Japanese soldiers were gunning down Chinese civilians right at the crossroads, their bodies left lying in the street. A-Chong fought down his terror and ducked into the shadows. He'd barely taken a few steps when he ran into another patrol. He had to dart in the opposite direction. The once thriving city of Nanjing lay in ruins, a landscape of despair. A-Chong ran as fast as he could, his mind racing with fear. But no matter where he turned, the Japanese soldiers were everywhere.